Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're going to be looking at the astrological forecast for March 11th, 2025.
All right.
And we're getting all this awesome insight from Horoscope 11 Mars 2025, Tarot Par High C. That's a bit of a mouthful, I know. But think of it this way, like we're giving you a sneak peek into the energies of the day. And if you're really digging this whole astrology thing, the source has more info, even personal readings, at tarot by hic.net. But for our deep dive today, we're going to break down the most important parts of the forecast so you can kind of, ride those cosmic waves without getting totally wiped out.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So let's jump right in, shall we? One of the first things that jumps out from the forecast is this whole vibe of softness and harmony, especially when it comes to how we're thinking and talking to each other.
Yeah, it's not just about feeling good vibes only. It's like this potential for real breakthroughs, especially with tricky stuff. You're always interested in hearing different viewpoints, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today might be the day to really dive into those conversations because people are probably going to be more open to actually listening and thinking things through. It's like a chance to, finally tackle those tough conversations you've been putting off.
So, okay, before we move on to the potential for things getting a little shaken up later in the day, can we spend a little more time on this whole softness and harmony thing?
Yeah.
Like, how would that actually show up in everyday life? I mean, you always have so many projects and collaborations going on. Are there specific benefits you'd be looking out for during this kind of initial phase of the day?
For sure. I mean, this energy really supports thinking clearly, and it kind of encourages a gentler approach to, everything, really. It's likely that expressing your ideas will feel easier and people will be more willing to hear you out.
Right.
So collaboration, brainstorming, any situation that needs a little diplomacy, it's all going to be smoother. And if you've been thinking about how to really live your values, this morning could offer a more intuitive understanding.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like setting the stage for good communication, getting everyone on the same page. But the forecast does mention a bit of a shift around midday, something about a Leo moon square Uranus. That sounds like things could get a little interesting. How does that compare to the whole harmony thing we were just talking about? And for you, how might that change the overall feel of the day?
Oh, yeah. Things are definitely going to shift. See, in astrology, square usually means there's some tension, like a little friction between the planets involved. So we've got the Leo moon, which is all about expressing emotions, butting heads with Uranus, which is the planet of, the unexpected.
Oh, okay.
So you might feel a little restless, like you're suddenly craving freedom, or, something could happen that just throws you off your routine, and you like to be prepared. Right?
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, as they say.
Exactly. So understanding this shift can help you roll with those punches. Instead of getting caught off guard, you can be ready to adapt.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing, this square, more like it throws a little spice into the mix,
Exactly. Think of it like this. You've been stuck in a rut, maybe at work, or even just in your daily routine, and then, bam, this Leo moon square Uranus throws a curveball your way.
Okay.
Maybe a new opportunity pops up out of nowhere, or a problem forces you to think outside the box. And instead of freaking out, you could use this energy to try something new, experiment a little.
So embrace the chaos.
In a way, yeah. But the forecast does warn against making big decisions just because you're bored, which is something you're definitely not into. So for you, what's the difference between a genuine need for change and just, being impulsive?
That's a great question. I'd say impulsive decisions, they usually come with this surge of emotion. You just want to do something, anything, without really thinking it through.
Yeah.
And those boredom-driven impulses, they usually lack a clear goal. It's just about wanting something different, right?
Right.
But a real need for change that usually comes from a deeper place. Like you're not happy with how things are, and you've actually thought about other options. So when I feel that urge to shake things up, I try to take a step back and ask myself, why am I really doing this? Is this actually going to help me grow, or am I just chasing a fleeting feeling?
That's a really smart approach, kind of like hitting the pause button on your cosmic remote.
Exactly. All right, so we've talked about the harmonious start, the potential midday shakeup. What else is going on in the celestial department on March 11th? I'm seeing something about Mercury conjunct Venus arcs. Now, that sounds a little technical. Can you break that down for us?
Okay, so Mercury is all about how we think, communicate, process information. And Venus is about Love, beauty, what we value, and that sense of harmony.
Okay, so far so good.
Now, conjunction means these two planets are basically hanging out together in the sky, so their energies are blending and getting stronger. And the RX, that means Venus is in retrograde, which is kind of like a cosmic rewind. It's a time to reevaluate things, especially in the areas Venus rules, like relationships, values, and what brings us joy.
Interesting.
So, Mercury conjunct Venus RX basically means it's a good time to really think about what we value, especially in our connections with others. And we might need to rethink some of those values based on our thoughts and conversations.
So a time for thinking and rethinking.
Exactly. And the forecast says these insights will become even clearer in April. Now, you love those aha moments, right? So what should you be looking out for today as these new thoughts and creative ideas start popping up?
Oh, I am all about those aha moments. Well, I guess I wouldn't expect any major epiphanies today, but more like little hints, right?
Yeah, think of it like getting little nudges from the universe. Pay attention to thoughts that keep coming back, creative sparks, conversations that make you think deeply about your values or your relationships. They might seem small now, but those are the seeds of something bigger. Write those thoughts down. They might be super valuable later on.
I like that. Seeds of understanding. The forecast also mentions that we should channel this energy into revisiting old creative projects, not old relationships. Why the distinction?
Well, Venus retrograde often brings up stuff from the past, including exes. But because Mercury is in the mix, we're really focusing on how we think and communicate about what we value.
I see.
Revisiting a creative project, that fits perfectly. You get to reconnect with something you were passionate about and maybe see it with fresh eyes, breathe new life into it.
Yeah, I can see that.
But going back to old relationships during Venus retrograde, that's usually a recipe for drama. You end up rehashing old problems, which doesn't help anyone. This energy is more about looking inward, not getting back together with your ex.
Makes sense. So nurture current connections, reignite those passions, but maybe leave the past in the past. However, the forecast does mention some potential downsides to this Mercury conjunct Venus RX, like miscommunication and old relationship drama resurfacing.
Yeah.
Anything specific we should be aware of?
Right. So while you might be feeling all creative and inspired, Venus retrograde can bring up unresolved issues. Old memories, thoughts about past partners, even unexpected contact. It's like those ghosts of exes past coming back to haunt you.
Oh, no, not the ghosts.
But the key is to just observe these feelings. Don't react right away. And that's where the miscommunication comes in. Our perceptions might be clouded by these past experiences, so it's easy to misunderstand what people are saying.
Oh, yeah, I can see that happening.
Be careful how you express yourself and don't jump to conclusions. If old relationship issues come up, use them as a chance to learn and grow, not to run back to your ex.
So even if we get those gut feelings or memories, we shouldn't necessarily act on them.
Exactly. Remember, the forecast says those feelings are clues, not guarantees. Think before you speak, and don't base your actions on fleeting emotions. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this feeling? How can I communicate better with the people in my life right now?
Okay, so let's sum this all up for our listeners. March 11th, 2025 is looking like a day of contrasts. It starts with smooth sailing, great communication, perfect for meaningful conversations. Then, around midday, things might get a little unpredictable thanks to that Leo moon square Uranus. Embrace the change, but avoid impulsive decisions. And throughout the day, we've got Mercury conjunct Venus ax urging us to revisit creative projects, rethink our values, and be mindful of potential communication issues and those pesky ghosts of relationships past. Remember, those feelings are clues for self-reflection, not necessarily calls to action.
That was a really great summary. And to build on that, here's something to ponder. We've talked a lot about revisiting creative pursuits. And with Venus retrograde, it's a time for looking inward. So what's one old idea or passion that you might want to revisit today? It doesn't matter if you're single or in a relationship. Think about something that used to light you up. And how might the day's energy, that initial harmony, and then the potential for disruption play a role in that exploration? Maybe it gives you a new perspective or pushes you out of your comfort zone. See how these cosmic influences can help you rediscover something you truly love.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive, and we'll catch you next time.
See you then.